Welcome back to Effective Educator. This is our fourth entry in this series, which is stretching out longer than I had anticipated. That's because I'm doing my best to keep all these videos in the 5 to 8 minute range so that they're short and digestible. Please take a look at the previous videos in this playlist here if you haven't seen them already. And if you have, and if you're ready, then let's start planning our first semester. For J.D. Meier, in his book, Agile Results, these are called quarterly goals, and they are optional. But I find that they are helpful for a couple of reasons. First, we have a lot of outcomes that we want to work towards in our hotspots, but we only picked 3 of them as annual goals this year. We might have a dozen other things that we want done that we decided didn't warrant being one of our top 3 goals for this year. Some of these might actually be small enough that we can make meaningful progress on them within a single semester. For example, I'm working on starting a PD group with other computer science teachers at nearby schools. This isn't quite big enough to be an annual goal. Since it's mostly just a coffee session at the moment, it's a weekly or a monthly meeting, it's not a big deal. But it doesn't take a big amount of time. But it would be good to start so we can get a pattern of monthly meetings going here in the fall semester. So I have set that as one of my semesterly goals. Again, we are setting semester and annual goals that we want to motivate us. It's really important that these be motivating to us. We are going to spend quite a bit of time on these goals. We'll be checking in on these goals often. We'll be asking ourselves, are we making progress towards this goal? Are we thinking about ways that we can speed our progress towards this goal? We're going to be doing this for the better part of the year if it's a semester-long goal, or for the whole year if it's an annual goal. So you're going to look at these probably once a week. So we want to make sure that we set goals that are good. I'm sure that you've heard about SMART goals. Goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-boxed. That's very true. And you're going to want to keep that in mind. If you've never heard of SMART goals, go ahead and pause the video and read up on them or catch another video on them somewhere. But in my experience, they've come up at least once a year during an in-service day at every school I've worked at for the last 7 years. So I'm going to assume, if you're a teacher, that you have heard of these and not waste your time explaining it to you again. Instead, I want to talk about how to make goals that are motivating. And for this, we're going to borrow another concept from computer programming, specifically the user story. While computer programming can be fun because you get to solve new and interesting problems, most software development isn't. This is because most of the problems you're solving on a programming project are neither new nor interesting. As an example, it isn't new or interesting to figure out how to get users to log into your website. Every website does this, so it's not new, and there are almost no interesting choices to make about how you do it if you want to actually have a secure login system. So the solution, one solution, proposed by the Agile approach to programming is to shift the focus from the problem you're solving to the users you're serving. It isn't exciting to solve the problem of users logging in, but it is exciting to have people using your code and using your project. And the primary way of shifting this focus is what Agile methodology calls user stories. So instead of write login page, an Agile project may have something like give Jake an awesome login experience, followed by a paragraph narrative about a fictional user named Jake who returns to the website because he's excited to use it and then logs in successfully so that he can go on with what he wants to do. The idea behind this is to shift the focus from the page and the problem to the user. It's also more motivating to read than just a list of procedures and pages that you need to implement. Now, let's take a look at my goal, which was start a PD group in the area. Even if you're really into PD, that's not very motivating. Incidentally, it's also not smart because I can't measure it, but you should always make these goals motivational before you make them smart. So I changed this to lead for successful meetings of the PD group. And then beneath that, I wrote success equals face-to-face, COVID permitting, on content-specific topics and attended by at least one other school. Now that is much more motivating. I added that definition of successful to make it specific, and then we have the number of meetings in there, so it's measurable. So this is also a SMART goal, and this is a very personal thing, this particular goal. You may not find it all that motivational, and that's fine. Other people may not find your goals motivational, that's fine. The important thing is that you read your goal and you say, oh yeah, that is something I can get behind. Once you've set your semesterly goals, you should go back and you should make sure that there are not any new dates that have popped up since you did your annual planning. You may need to wait until the beginning of your semester to do this step. The beginning of any semester is always an info dump in terms of dates and schedules and expectations and all of these things. And it is important to make sure that your calendar is up to date. The goal is that we don't have to update our calendar except once a semester. Maybe add a couple of dates of the month. Now that's all for setting up a semester. Join us next week when we're going to break down how to plan your month. Until then, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you found this video helpful. Bye.